The Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which is normally abbreviated as CEFR, provides us with a detailed taxonomic description of language proficiency in terms of language use. The description has two dimensions: language activities and the user-learner's competences, the things we do with language and the complex of knowledge and skills we have to draw on when we do those things. The description in both dimensions is articulated at 6 levels. The lowest is A1 and the highest is C2. So A1, A2, corresponding very roughly to beginner and post-beginner, B1 and B2 corresponding to intermediate and post-intermediate, and C1 and C2, the advanced levels. In the 2 chapters dealing with this descriptive taxonomy, there are illustrative scales. So in the chapter on language activities, there are scales telling you what a user-learner of language can do at each of the levels in relation to a particular activity. And in the chapter on the user-learner's competences, there are similar scales on different dimensions of communicative language competence. That's the heart of the CEFR. The CEFR was first published in 2001. In principle, it can be used as an instrument of what we call constructive alignment to develop curricula and teaching materials, activities and approaches and assessment instruments that are aligned with one another, that support one another interdependently. On the whole, that's not how the CEFR has mostly been used. It's been used more as a sort of independent metric against which to measure different curricula in some cases, but mostly exams. It's been used by the international language testing agencies to give an indication of the proficiency level that people who pass this, that, or the other test may be expected to have. And the Council of Europe several years ago published a manual to support the linking of existing tests and exams to the CEFR. It's also been used as a resource for developing new exams and new assessment approaches, and that, I think, has been its largest impact here in Ireland, because it's been used to shape the TEG system of Irish language tests or exams. And what's important, I think, about that development is that the TEG scheme is presented in ways that encourage the people who are developing and providing the courses that prepare learners to take the exams, encourages them to develop their work along communicative lines that are harmonious with the underlying ethos of the CEFR. The question arises, what does the CEFR have to say directly to language teachers? Well, the Council of Europe has long fostered language learning and teaching for purposes of communication and exchange. And the CEFR is shaped by that tradition. But the CEFR itself doesn't advocate any particular approach to language teaching. Not because that's not implied by the approach it takes to defining proficiency, but because it's not an advocacy document. It's a descriptive reference document. What the action-oriented description of language proficiency implies above all is that communicative use of the target language plays a central role in effective language learning. The action-oriented approach adopted by the CFR is summarized at the beginning of chapter 2. And in that summary, it talks about language use, including language learning. So language learning is seen as a variety of language use.